This week it's all about the rabbits. We've had 2 large holes appear at the side of the garden, which are clearly easy access for the rabbit buffet, so we're going to be making some efforts to prevent them from chowing down in our garden. Hi, I'm Cameron, this is Stina, that's Suki, and that's Bramble. We've been renting flats most of our lives, and now in our early 40s we finally managed to buy our forever home. It's not much, only 1/5 of an acre, and it's seen far better days, but it's our little piece of rural southwest Scotland. We're excited to start its transformation into a cosy cottage and food forest garden that we know it can become. So welcome to Bramble Cottage. With these new holes opening up and some of the obvious damage that we're seeing from the rabbits, we've decided to prioritise rabbit prevention this week. So I will be creating a cover for one of the raised beds to make it easy to access. I'm also going to be making a cloche for one of Stina's favourite plants, and we're going to be putting down some rabbit fencing in the main lawn area just to try and keep them out.
You might remember a little while back we said we'd been to a farm clearance and picked up a whole pile of bargains. Well, these fence posts here were some of the bargains that we managed to get hold of. I'd had my eye on fence post opportunities for quite some time, but never found anything that was within budget for us at the current time. And then we went to this place and these were there, and they're actually just really attractive preserved black ones, much nicer than anything we could buy new, and it came with lots of rolls of chicken wire, so we snapped those up straight away because I knew that I wanted to fence off the garden as soon as possible.
So step 1 is I'm going to put out the posts roughly where I want them, and then step 2 I'm going to knock them into the ground. Pretty simple stuff.
A simple job is a boring job. This part of the garden looks really disorganised, but there's actually something of a design here with 2 sort of small narrow paths heading towards the hedge, and the idea was to position the fence with gaps at the ends of those paths, which we'll cover in chicken wire for now but eventually replace with gates so that we have access for cutting the hedge.
And finished. Or at least I thought we'd finished. It was at this point that Stina reminded me that we wanted to put a couple of gates in the side here so we could access the little gap between the fence and the hedge. So not quite finished. But definitely finished this time. So the plan is to dig the chicken wire into the ground. Now Stina did a bit of research, and apparently you need to get around about 1 foot below the ground and 2 foot above the ground. Now these are minimum measurements, and there's still no guarantee that we're going to keep them out, but we're going to do what we can. For anyone interested, this odd looking spade that I'm using is a trench shovel. We've had it for a long time, we've never used it before, but suddenly it was the most amazing tool. I actually did a little test piece just over here, and the test piece was really just to see how much was needed to be dug out. So let's see if we can get around the side here and have a look at this. It's not going all the way down properly at the moment, but it will. So what I've worked out from that was that it's better to actually dig the entire trench first, because I tried to dig just a little trench right there, didn't really work out, it was a real pain, so I dug the rest of it and then got that down straight. So what I've done in the rest of the garden is I've marked out where all of the rest of the posts are going to go. So you can kind of see the positions that we're talking about. I need to get a little bit of consensus from Stina and just make sure these are in the right places. At this stage I felt I needed a little bit of help, so I got Stina out to give me a hand with stretching out the chicken wire because it just kept on rolling back up. It's got a very natural tensile shape, and just getting the two of us to stretch it out and pin it in place. I did tell Stina there was a great big twig in the hair, but she didn't believe me. So there it is. So that's all of the rabbit fencing that we're going to put up along this side for now, because Stina wants to do a survey of the garden, and apparently having more features like posts and fences and things is going to make that more difficult. So this is where we finish for the moment. Having decided not to do the whole garden in chicken wire in one go, it kind of meant I needed to prioritise a few other concepts, like a chicken wire collar for the raised beds so they can easily be placed on and taken off and reached inside, which will make things a lot easier for Stina, and also cloches for individual plants. So first up is we're going to be making the chicken wire collar for the raised bed. All the wood I'm going to be using is wood which was reclaimed from the sheds that we knocked down. The sheds which were basically rotting on the outside had a few good bits of wood on the inside. So these battens are perfect for what I'm going to be doing. So when I'm building things like this, I like to build a jig so it makes the job a little bit easier, and that's kind of what I was doing with chopping up of the wood. I kind of jigged up the wood so that all the pieces would be the same length, and all of this is designed to fit exactly on top of the raised beds that we've got. So once you've got a jig set up, the work's kind of easy and it makes it really tidy as well. It's at times like this that I wish I had a bigger workbench to work with, because it was a real pain to get everything framed up and screwed together on that tiny little workbench. But you know, it'll come. And after working with chicken wire as much as I have been for the past few days, I'll be glad never to see it again, but I get the feeling there's going to be quite a lot of chicken wire in my life. And that is the 4 frames all chicken wired up. With the days being so short, it really limits what you can get done in one day, so I had to split this task over a couple of days because the light just failed me at a certain hour. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I am chopping up a pair of old jeans to use as fabric hinges, because I don't have any hinges lying around that are suitable for this job. So it's easiest to create a flexible, simple hinge out of some old fabric that you got lying around. It's not going to be permanent, but it'll get the job done. Like I said a little earlier, the hinges aren't going to be perfect by a long way. The real problem here is you got the inside joins and then you've got the outside joins. Because the wood isn't perfectly square, it's not so straightforward. And this is kind of like the problem with working with salvaged wood. You kind of have to work around your limitations. And job done. This is going to be far easier for Stina to get in and out of and take off as needed than the roll of chicken wire that was there staked in with some bamboo canes. So yeah, I think this is a job well done, and when the time comes I'll put some proper hinges on. Oh yeah, next thing to keep out is the slugs. So the next task for me today is to create a plant cloche for like one particular plant.
So this is Lonicera caerulea or Honeyberry, and these are the last two flower clusters after the rabbits ate all the rest. I'm looking forward to a cloche to protect this, but also to reuse elsewhere.
So I'm going to make something reasonably simple and quick that's going to do the job. So there were quite a lot of short lengths of batten left from the other cloche project for the raised beds, and I thought, well, hey, if I could turn those into an octagon, I only need short lengths. So I did some really messy maths and I came to the conclusion I needed 23 centimetre lengths. Long story short, these are my 8 lengths, all cut to the same measurements, all with a 45-degree angle on them. And this is going to help me form the octagon, which you can see the logic of here. So again, I made another jig to make it really easy to put the joints together. So everything's about just making things consistent and simple. That's all of the lengths put together. Now, if I didn't mention this, this is to form the base of the cloche. So this sits around the plant. So it needs to sit over the top of the plant comfortably. So I made this one about 50 centimeters wide. So let's see. It's a little tiny bit tight, but it's good. I really like the effect of the wood. It's nice. It's nice. To make the next steps easier, I decided to cut off the excess knobbles. Anyway, I think it was worthwhile. That's looking top dollar. At this stage, it seems that mine and Stina's ideas of a plant cloche kind of went in different directions, so I'll let Stina explain what they're expecting at this point. Personally, I just thought it needs to be practical, it needs to keep the rabbits out, let's wrap it in some simple chicken wire and maybe put a handle on the top.
I was super impressed when I saw Cameron's octagon. I started having visions of Victorian wall garden elegance beyond anything I'd imagined before. Well, let's see.
And now it just needs a nice simple handle. So I just grabbed a batten of wood and I'm stapling that up in the middle so there's like a clear place to get it from the centre of gravity and just lift it straight off your plants. Time to test it in situ. Yep, that is going to keep the rabbits away. That suits me fine.
Well, it's not quite what I imagined, but it'll protect our berries till next year, so that's good enough for me.